Assalamu alaikum.
Ramadan Mubarak, everybody. We're back with another story from the book, The Story of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's iftar time here, almost, so we decided to gather for another chapter of this book. So, tonight we're reading chapter 14, Two Enemies of Islam. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Abu Jahl was one of the biggest enemies of Islam. One day he approached the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and spoke to him in a filthy manner. And he said incredibly hurtful things. But Prophet Muhammad ﷺ held his tongue and did not respond at all. Prophet Muhammad's uncle, Hamza, heard about this from a girl slave and he became very upset. Hamza was not a Muslim yet, but he was also not an enemy like Abu Jahl. In fact, he loved his nephew dearly, and it hurt him to learn that Muhammad ﷺ was abused in this manner. Hamza was big and strong, known far and wide as being a brave warrior. He immediately set out in search of Abu Jahl, and he confronted him. Due to his anger in the moment, Hamza declared that he too was a Muslim, which shocked Abu Jahl. When Hamza radiallahu anhu returned home and calmed down, he considered what he had done rationally, and decided that it indeed was the right time to stop worshipping idols. So he went to his nephew Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he took the oath or the shahada that from now on he was a Muslim and only would worship one God. Another influential opponent of Islam was Umar bin Khattab. He felt that Islam was dividing the Arabs. Omar was a tall, strong, and thoughtful man, but he had a short temper, and he was known for badly beating the Muslims. Seeing Islam spread throughout Mecca made him very angry. One day, Omar set out to kill the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, to kill him himself. Along the way, he came across a Meccan who asked him where he was going. Omar told him he was going to kill the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, in order to put an end to Islam once and for all. The Meccan told him that Umar's own sister Fatima radiallahu anha and her husband had accepted Islam from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Omar was shocked to learn that his own sister would do such a thing. He decided to confront her at first. Angrily, he rushed to her home. From outside the house, Omar could hear Fatima radiallahu anha and her husband Sa'id reading passages from the Holy Quran. He became even more angered and enraged, and he barged into the house and struck Sa'id radiallahu anhu very hard. Sa'id fell to the ground, and Omar stood upon his chest. Fatima radiallahu anha ran to her husband to help, but she got hurt as well. When Omar saw that he had accidentally hurt his own sister, he became upset with himself, and he stopped what he was doing. What had happened to him? Why had he become so angry that he would hurt his own family? He sat and asked to see the pages that they had been reading. Fatima radiallahu anha said he was unclean and that he should first clean himself with water. So Omar washed his hands and his face, and he calmed down. He was given Surah Taha, chapter 20 of the Holy Quran. When he heard these verses, his heart began to tremble. Verse after verse affected his soul until he heard, "Verily I am Allah, there is no God beside me, so serve me and observe prayer for my remembrance." Omar had heard enough. He stood up, sword at his side, and he set off for the house of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Kill him again?
No.
He still wants to kill him?
No, let's find out. Several Muslims were in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's house when Omar arrived, including the brave Hamza radiallahu anhu. Someone had told them that Omar bin Khattab was approaching, and he had a sword with him. Everyone became very nervous. Omar was tall and strong and a fierce warrior. Who would be a match for him if he drew his sword? There was loud knocking at the door, and Omar told them that he had come for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His uncle Hamza radiallahu anhu said he would meet Omar with his own sword. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told his uncle to stay back. Stepping forward himself, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam opened the door and saw Omar taking up the entire doorway. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ asked him directly, with confidence, why he had come. And Omar replied, I have come to accept Islam. The Muslims all began to shout, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. What a proud day for the Muslims. Omar radiallahu anhu had joined Islam. Although Abu Jahl remained an enemy, Omar radiallahu anhu became a devoted Muslim, showing that Allah can open anyone's heart to the truth. But even Abu Jahl's enmity contained a lesson, for it was his persecution of the believers that led Hamza radiallahu anhu to accept Islam. Now both Omar radiallahu anhu and Hamza radiallahu anhu had accepted Islam. The Muslims were able to walk in the Kaaba in a group and pray out in the open for the first time. Not even the mighty chiefs of Mecca dared to stop them, now that these two heroes of Islam had accepted the one God. So, do you like that story?
Yeah.
I like that story too. It's a wonderful story about Omar, who had been such a fierce opponent of Islam, how his heart was opened by the Quran and he accepted Islam right there on the spot. Now, do you remember who Hamza radiallahu anhu is in that story?
Muhammad's uncle.
That's right, he's Muhammad's uncle, and he became very angry at Abu Jahl for abusing the Prophet Muhammad, and he got so angry he was going to go rough him up, but then he calmed down, and he realized that yes, actually he really should accept Islam. Now, why do you think Umar radiallahu anhu opposed Islam at first?
I think because his own sister was accepting it.
Yeah, he was kind of mad that it was spreading around, and Omar really believed in following tradition, right? We have to follow just what our parents did and when the grandparents and great-grandparents, without really thinking about what we were actually doing. And so he thought that, but then when he heard the words of the Quran, he thought that was beautiful and rational, and that was a better way to worship Allah. What can we learn from Umar radiallahu anhu about the effect of the Holy Quran on our souls?
Wait, what?
What can we learn from Umar about how the Quran can affect us?
That because this is just in my opinion. Maybe if you don't follow Islam, maybe you would go to hellfire.
Well, that wasn't. So what he heard was just so beautiful about the one God. So it wasn't necessarily out of thinking about hellfire, but it was just how beautiful the Quran was, and this message about accepting and worshiping the one God moved him so much. So it calmed him, made him tranquil. Also, his sister Fatima radiallahu anha was so smart that she made him do wudu before holding the Quran. Obviously, that's required for us to make wudu, to wash ourselves before we handle the Quran, but it also probably had the effect of calming Omar down. That was advice that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gives us when anyone gets angry, is to make wudu, and that'll help us calm down, inshallah. And I know a lot of people right now, they're dealing with anger and stress in the home because of being on lockdown, so that's something we can learn, is to make wudu and read Quran and feel calm and not hurt our family. All right, assalamu alaikum. We'll see you tomorrow night, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.